maybe I'm out of space or something like that, I don't know. But I cried because I didn't care enough about him to feel like I had lost something, because I never had nothing. So I cried. I said, man, it's a damn shame. I don't even feel nothing for this man to even cry because he dead. So I cried because I wasn't crying. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I cried, because I wasn't crying. You know? And so there's some pain that we have, brother, we're going to talk about today that we don't normally talk about. We're trying to hold that in, like, you know, you are young, all right. We don't talk about it. But now it's kind of like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting where everybody alcoholics, you kind of know what's going on. So all of us might have that in common, that we might have that pain or that malice in our heart because our dad wasn't there, so we can let it out amongst each other. So we can just really just let it all hang out because we understand. Well, other folks might not understand. They might just, but you 35 years old, when you 50 years old, you talk about your dad, you damn right. I'm hurt. You know, we ain't gonna say it out loud to no anybody. We still got, you know, it's still kind of, you know, got us kind of messed up. You know, y'all remember that sitcom Fresh Prince when Will Smith, you know, was crying about his dad. Y'all ever seen that? He said, man, you know, his dad had been lying to him all his young life, and he came back in his life, and he like a little kid, you know. He was grown. He made my dad, he won't come see me, you know. And he said he gonna come and take him fishing or something like that. But then he didn't come. He came and said, I gotta run somewhere like you always did when he was a child. And he said, I'm good, man, go ahead on. But he was really said, I'm good, go ahead on, handle your business, whatever his name was. And he went and talked to Uncle Phil. He said, Uncle Phil, you know, man, you know, I'm all right. Then he said, man, what's wrong with me? Why you don't love me, man? Then he broke down and cried. He said, man, why you don't love me? He said, that's all right. You know, I'm gonna be a man without him. I'm gonna learn how to drive, you know, without him. I'm gonna learn how to shave without him. I'm gonna learn how to get me a little honey, you know what I'm saying? Have me some kids, stuff like that. Because I don't need him lying to himself, trying to make himself feel good. So we have camouflage that we covered it up like a woman cover up her face with makeup. We cover this thing up, you know, that we don't have no feeling about our dad not being there. But it's really inside of our heart, it's eating at us. Then we sometimes not even realize we repeat the same thing that our daddy did to us. We do it to our kids and wonder, damn, you know, I ain't really want to do that. So we're going to try to deal with that today, brother, so we can understand how we can process that and make it work for our good. I got 5 quick principles we're going to talk about. And in the end, we're going to make a pledge as to how we're going to try to live our life going forward. So we're going to go in now with our first principle. Principle number 1. You got to give honor to whom honor is due. You got to give honor to whom honor is due, brother. Okay? Now, there's a commandment that God gave. It's in the book of Exodus, the 10th chapter, the 12th verse. It said to honor your mother and father, for you have long life. That's the first commandment that God gave us with the promise. He said, if you honor your mother and father, it'll give you long life on the land. So that means that, you know, that's a promise that he attached to a commandment. We know about thou shalt not kill, thou shalt whatever. He got all kind of commandments. But this commandment, we don't know a lot about. But he attached a promise to this commandment. He said, honor your mother and father that your days be long in the earth. Means you got to recognize the fact this your mama, man. Y'all realize, man, that's your daddy. That's still your daddy. He might say, man, I'm still your daddy. You know what I'm saying? You got to honor and respect that. And I'm going to tell you why. You got to respect the fact that's your daddy, because that's the first decision that God made about you. Was who he was going to allow to be the one to bring you into the world. God chose that man. It wasn't no accident that he was your dad. It was a reason that God chose. God is all wise. God had a plan for you. He knew he needed somebody to make that plan manifest. He chose your mama and your dad. He's the right one, brother. Even though he ain't did nothing for you, even though he might not have showed you how to be a man, even though he ain't showed you that he loved you, he was the one that God chose. You got to respect God's decision that you don't even understand why he decided that, because God is all wise. He don't make no mistakes. So you got to respect the fact. Maybe you feel like he don't deserve to be respected. Okay, I got that. But you got to respect the fact that it was the one that God chose to bring you into the world. Now watch this. I done told some of y'all, I'm going to say it again. Everything that you see started out as a thought, something you couldn't see. It was invisible, like a spirit. This mask you wearing was a thought. That table you're sitting on there was a thought. Okay? This water fountain, somebody thought about a water fountain. You can get water this way. How to get it out of a fountain, let it be cool. Somebody thought of that. Somebody thought about this building. It was just a thought of somebody's mind. An idea. Okay? He said, okay, I got it in my mind, so I got to get out of my mind. Now, it's bothering me, I got to get out of my mind. I got to be able to feel it. So he drew it down on a piece of paper, a blueprint for this building. That was first was a thought, you couldn't see. Now you can see it because it's on paper. It got, you wrote it, you drew it, a blueprint. So I can see now what was in my mind, I can see it. Once was invisible, now it's visible. But he said, you know what, I'm going to go a little further. And I still can't feel it like I want to feel it. So now I got to go get me some material. Got to give me some wood, some concrete, some metal, some electrical wires, and put it all together in such a way that it can be like I see it in my mind. Now, you inside of somebody's mind. You sitting on somebody's mind. You up under somebody's mind in this place. Everything was a thought, but they got some material in the material world because you can't experience no spirit. It needs flesh to make itself manifest. Something you can feel, you can touch, you can taste, you can hear. It needs something physical. We live in a physical world. So they went out and got some material, and they designed the building the way they wanted. Now we feeling the benefit of what was in somebody's mind. There was a thought. Now, you were a thought as well. You was in the mind of God. And God needs some material. And he's all wise. He knew what you was going to need to make it. So he got your mama and your daddy, put them together, and they made you. Let me go a little further. Now, a builder, when he building a building, he take everything into consideration. We got some brothers work with maintenance. Y'all know. You got to, okay, say for instance you living on the West Coast, right? You about to build and design a building. You got to take into consideration where you build this building at. What kind of weather conditions it got to endure. How much weight it's got to hold. So you got to have where it can take up so many pounds of square feet. You know what I'm saying? It can hold a certain amount of weight. Okay, like the bridges and the roads and everything. They build them in such a way because they know they're going to build in a certain kind of condition. So if you're a builder, you're building a house or building a building on the West Coast, you got to take into consideration the fact that they have wildfires out there on the West Coast, right? So they got to have a building with some material that's kind of flame retardant. It won't burn up so fast because they have fires out there. They also have what? Earthquakes out there. That's right, on the West Coast, right? We don't have them down south too fast. But in the West Coast, they got to build a house such that if an earthquake comes, it got to be able to withstand the what? Earthquake. That make sense? Up north, it's real cold. It snows a lot. It's very cold and rigid up there. So the builder said, I got to build me a house or a building. I got to take in consideration and factor in the fact it gets cold up here. So they got it where now they got some things that they got a driveway with like a heater up under the driveway, like some what you call it, little things, some coil under the ground. Like you make the little chicken wire, you put the concrete down. They got some coil with they can turn the thermostat on in the house so the ice will melt. You can get out of the driveway. You ain't got to be shoveling, the snow. Somebody thought about that. He got tired of shoveling snow, so I got to think about a way to get over this. He got him a contraption where he can, like you turn the heater up, and it melts the snow. It was in his mind. But they built it because they knew there was a factor they got to deal with up north. Okay, out on the East Coast, they know that, it have like hurricane, like in Florida. They have hurricane. They know it's hurricane season. They go to boarding up houses. Say, this means to be a hurricane. You see, in the Midwest they have tornadoes, like Tornado Alley. They got down through Tulsa, Oklahoma. They build houses a certain way because the tornado don't want to just blow it down. Now we live in the South. Down south they got houses and they built up on the stilts. Because we flood, isn't that right? This is the flood zone. They take into account where the house is and think I need some certain kind of material to build a house because of where it's at. Now watch this now, brother. Now these are men who got this kind of wisdom, who that intelligent to think about the factors they're going to contribute to what they're going to put into the house because of the conditions that the house is going to be under. They want to be able to stand. That make sense? Now, these are men. They're very wise. Now watch this now. Now we're talking about God. God that made the man. Don't you think God is at least as wise as the men? I would go so far to say I think that God is more wise than the men because he made the men. Does that make sense? So if the men going to take all these things into consideration when they're building houses, how much more consideration you think God made when he built you? He didn't make no accident, Brother Piku. He was right on point. That man was supposed to be the one. And we're going to find out why. I'm trying to figure out a way to give you some information, brother. You got to try to get rid of the pain. You got to want to get rid of the hate. See, you can't want to hold on to, you want to find a reason, like they say, Luther said, give me the reason to take you back. You know what I'm saying? Give me the reason to, you know that song you made. You know, just give me any kind of reason to take you back. So you got to be looking for some kind of reason to not hate him or not despise him, because that's weighing you down. You're trying to find anything you can make an excuse where, okay, I'm going to let it go. You don't want to try to figure out, hold on, I ain't never stop hating him. You know, no, brother. You want to try to find a reason to justify why you let it go. You know why? Because you got to. Because they ain't helped you now time since you've been holding. And it ain't going to start helping you. All it did was hurt you. So you got to, I'm trying to give you a reason, I'm going to give you a couple of reasons as to what I was able to understand. Right? So, this is the wise God now. When he thought about making use, I need some material. Because I know he's going to be born in New Orleans, in the Ninth Ward. I know he's going to be born in the railroad, in the West Bank. Where are you from? I know what it's like over there. So I got to put something in for him to be able to overcome this stuff. So he put something inside of you through your daddy's DNA. Now, you didn't use it right. It was manipulated. Like I keep telling you, working on the wrong team. You just didn't understand what you had. He put something inside you that he knew you was going to need. He used your daddy to do it. I'm going to go a little further now. You got to understand that God didn't make no accident. It wasn't by chance. It was intentional. Now let me go to principle number 2. Everybody all right? Principle number 2. We're trying to find a reason to let it go now. Principle number 2. You were born on purpose with a purpose. You were born on purpose with a purpose. You ain't here by no accident. You were meant to be here, brother. And that man was meant to be the one to help to get you here. You where you supposed to be, but I ain't talking about in jail. I'm talking about in this physical experience we call life. You supposed to experience this. Now y'all know how the lottery works. We're from Louisiana. Man, somebody win the lottery like, damn, man, that's just like the chance of you getting struck by light. It's like millions to one. Somebody, man, hit the lottery. That's why it's a big deal. Because there's so many millions of people trying to get that one ticket. Then somebody get it, they put them all on TV, they become famous. Because what? It's so many odds that you don't get that ticket. So when you get it, it's a big deal. But you came here under that same kind of circumstance, bro. Let you know you're here on purpose. You came here in a lottery type of situation. Let me tell you why. Because God knew it was going to be a hostile environment. So I'm going to test my man. Like they test the material to see how much stress it can take. For, okay, it can hold up. Then they put it on the car, whatever. They put it in the house. They test stuff. So God said, let me see if my man going to be fit to run this race. Let me put him under test. I mean, before he even got any eye to see, before he even got any hands to work, in the ears to hear, in the mouthpiece to move around and talk, and legs to move around with, I'm going to test to see if my man got what it takes. This God now. God is wise, boy. God all right, man. God, man, listen, God is awesome. He said, let me throw him in a hostile environment. There's 300 million people trying to get to the same spot. 300 million sperm that your daddy emitted into your mother under a microscope when he ejaculated inside your mother. You look at that semen under the microscope, it's like 300 million sperm cells with one thing in mind. Trying to survive. Trying to get to the egg. You got an intelligence that they know if I don't get to the egg, I'm going to die. And all of them know the same thing. It ain't just this one that made you. All the sperm cells have the same idea. I got to survive, man. That's the same thing you've been working with all your life that's been manipulated. Man, I got to make it. You ain't going to just lay down and die. You're going to do something, but it's been manipulated to where you go out and do something crazy to make it. That's natural. It's been manipulated, though. Let me get back to my point. Let me test my man. He threw you out there in the middle of that 300 million sperm cells. Gonna see which one of y'all gonna be fit to make it. You overcame all them odds, brother. And the proof of it is, ain't you here? If I call a roll, say your name, you say here, here. You know, you're in school. You know, John Brown here, Samuel Wilson here, Michael Washington here. We are all here. Is that right? That means you're supposed to be. You overcame the odds when you came here, brother. It's in you to make it, brother. So this thing you're dealing with that you said you can't get over this, you can get over it, brother. You got over 300 million chances to 1. You already did it. You got the power. I'm just trying to tap into that power. Man, I just can't get over, man. I just can't let it go. Yes, you can, brother. That's proof right there. So God said, okay, let me see if my man all right. So he tested you to see if you fit to run this race of life. And guess what? You here, that means that you're supposed to be here. It don't happen like that by chance, brother. 300 million to one and you the one to make it, brother. That ain't no accident. But that man puts them in